There is fire on the mountain. Run, run, run. Please, my black folks, I want to ask before we dive into this video, do white Americans really have culture? Oh, I think I'm the only person that grew up having that illusion that these people just fell from the sky. I don't know because I saw videos trending where these people literally are talking about their culture, how they actually want to learn more about their culture, study more about their culture, expose their culture more so that we can see. Because the only culture that I know the last time I checked, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm about to step on someone's husband or wife, right? But not all. Some white folks, right? The only culture I know about them is that they don't take hygiene serious. They don't take cleanliness serious. Honestly, that's the only culture I know about them. I didn't know that they have other things very important. But anyways, we are going to watch in this video because a lot of them are now coming out to talk about their culture and so on and so forth. You guys should also watch and let me know what you think. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. And let's dive right into this video. And I'll be back with commentaries. I love you guys. Let's go and watch.
Most white Americans are obsessed with discovering our ancestry because we are yearning to understand where we come from. When we arrived in America, our job was no longer to be Greek or French or German or whatever. Our job was to be white and embark on the project of whiteness, right? The problem, of course, besides the violence, is that a mere 2 to 3 generations later, we're so hungry to figure out where we come from because whiteness is rootless. It's too new and it hasn't really done anything good for the world. We crave roots that have more nourishment. But I'm going to tell you now why the search for your European ancestors is always going to be fruitless and futile, and also why it's going to be okay anyway. I think it's an invitation for something even better. Like other people facing the rootless wonder that is European American existence, I sent off a sample of my DNA to a private company to tell me who I am. I knew the basics of my heritage in the sense that I knew my birth certificate said French, Welsh, Portuguese, and German. That's all I knew. 23andMe finished analyzing my data and they said, yeah, that all checks out. And also, did you know you're 12% Sardinian? No? I make some calls. No one in my family has any record of this, right? I become completely obsessed with Sardinia for 2 weeks. I am looking up Sardinian history. I'm looking up Sardinian culture. I am planning a $2,000 trip to Sardinia so I can go and try that like freaky worm cheese they have. For a reason I can't yet articulate, I know that being from this place makes me a more interesting person. And I log in one day to show someone and poof, it is just gone. They took all my little Sardinian Pokemon DNA points and put them into Portugal. Like the whole thing was just some kind of rounding error. And I was very upset about this. I felt betrayed. And then I was like, I just let a private for-profit company tell me a story about myself that I can never verify, that you can never verify unless you have a fucking time machine, and used it to change my entire perception about who I am. The whole exercise revealed itself to be what it truly was, which is useless. You go looking for your ancestors not because you are looking for blood purity. You're looking for stories. Blood will never tell you a story. You put a story on blood. You find out your part whatever, and you tell yourself a story about what that means about you based on stereotypes you've heard about that culture from other people. That is not the same thing as learning about what your ancestors were like. Were they kind neighbors? Were they loving parents? Were they cruel to strangers? What did they think of immigrants? What did they think was happening when they prayed? Did they ever think about you? You just don't get to know that with a DNA test. That will only ever be a story you make up in your head that you allow a DNA test to give you permission to indulge. And there is a freedom in this. Actually, stay with me. I think most of us want to be burdened with a legacy. We want destiny and direction that is so certain and so strong. We might actually have the gall, the bratty urge to fight it. DNA tests don't give us legacy. The freedom of America that was promised to European settlers can be realized by us, the descendants of those settlers, but perhaps not in the way that it was originally set out. I feel like a wandering white ghost. I think a lot of us do. But we are still the inheritors of incredible wealth, and incredible things were built for us. We are ghosts holding bags of money and power. We need to realize that looking backward is only going to get us so far. We need to look forward. Maybe our ancestral legacy is the realization of the benefits of rootlessness, that we are part of a global family, and that it is our obligation to care about that. That is our evolution. We know how easy it is to be torn away from a bloodline, removed from a cultural and a national identity, and reformed into something new that doesn't fully understand itself and the consequences of that. Because borders always change. Nations always change, and cultures are always in a state of change. If you wrap your self-perception up too much in these things, these changing things, you lose the plot of what ancestry is about. Ancestry is the search for family, for belonging. You already are a part of a family, even if it's a dysfunctional one. Care about that.
Whoa, what is going on? Where's the energy of your ancestors? Those were some violent ass people, and y'all, I'm not seeing that energy. I'm not saying you should be like that. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that energy, that commitment, that passion, I'm not seeing it. Y'all gonna let these bald, raggedy ass white men in the White House tear y'all ass up like this? You gonna let them mollywop y'all's ass like this? What happened to conquering continents? I'm not saying you should do that. That wasn't it. But that energy, like, where is it? Y'all think deconstructing racism means you lose that dog in you? No. Y'all gonna go out like this? What happened to we're the supreme race? What happened to that energy? It wasn't true, and we know that. But at least y'all tried. All I'm saying is y'all are losing recipes. It ain't gotta be the same recipe, but you can switch out some ingredients.
Is it weird? No, weird is the wrong word. Is it fucked up that white people from this country have taken every fucking tradition and turned it on its fucking head? I just watched a video about Memorial Day actually being an African American holiday. It was never a white person's holiday. African Americans made it a holiday. I shared the video. Go see it. Go look at it. Every day I learn how insidious my heritage and others is in reality. The spectrum of greed that flows through our blood in history past is just astounding. Wake up and do your research.
This is 7,000 years old. White skin. Yep, my skin colour is only 7,000 years old, and we know this through the markers in our own DNA. We know when white skin evolved. Because Homo sapiens, us, we all originated in East Africa. And then when the globe started warming up after the Ice Age, we started roaming across the entire planet, and eventually, after 100,000 years, our dark skin turned white. Which kind of puts things into perspective. Why do we have racism? We are still just one species of people, and the amount of sunlight one country gets means that the skin colour will be different to protect the skin. Darker skin in hotter climates, whiter skin in colder climates. But there's no difference in the human being that's underneath that skin. And I just think racism is so redundant, and I'd love to see an end of it, because it's just so stupid. We shouldn't be divvying up people anyway, and especially not for something as so ridiculous as people's skin colour. We are one race of people, and this is kind of a new addition.
Lived in America for like 20 years, who has come to understand the history in this country specifically. A little bit, understand a little bit, not a lot, so don't come for me. Why do white people get defensive when they're called racist? When they did racist things, when they had microaggressions that were racist? Why do they get defensive when in their blood from their ancestors is racism? Mind you, there is no class. There is no class where they can learn to see people as people. There is no class where they can learn what their people did and see how it has affected them, so that they can unlearn those types of things. So in 2025, when a woman is saying microaggression in their songs, and we're like, that's it's giving racist. You're like, oh no, that's not what she meant. How would you know when you can't even confront your own racism? How would you know? When that man who got unalived on TV was repeating whatever, but then proceeded to be racist, it's like, oh no, you're taking it out of context. You telling me we taking this human out of context not once, 10, 20 times? When y'all decided to put that human in office, who was point blank racist, y'all were like, oh no, cheaper grocery. Oh no, he doesn't mean it that way. The man, when the whole racism ended, he was 17. And according to some research, when he had his hotels and stuff, he treated a certain type of way. So I am confused why white people get bent backwards when they're called racist. Why? Do you ever stop and be like, oh wow, that was racist? Oh wow, am I racist? I am. But why? Oh, it comes from my, oh. Let me unlearn that. It's that simple. The first step to overcoming something, white people, is to admit that you are racist. The majority of you are racist. And if you're not, you do racist shit. And when your friends tell you, hey, that was racist, instead of you getting defensive and be like, no, that's not what I meant, then what did you mean? And if you can't explain what you meant, or you make excuses for what you did, just be like, you know what, that was racist and I need to really dig deep and unlearn. It's that simple. Y'all need to stop acting that way. Y'all have never taken a class to unlearn your racism. So what do you think is gonna happen if your ancestors do things that try to cover up all the shit that they did and how they acted so racist, and you don't know, now you acting like you know? Y'all stupid. Go learn something. And better yet, learn that you are racist and unlearn it. It's okay. No one's mad at you, but we are mad at you when you act dance and I'm like, I wasn't.
It's so funny when white people say like they face a lot of racism. It's really racist in China and Japan and Korea. What racism did you face? Did someone not invite you to a party? Did someone look at you differently and called you a name? Did you lose your job? Did you get in trouble with the police and were sent to prison for life? Did they take away your children? Did you get killed? Did your family get killed? Because that's the level of racism people face in US and other countries. That's the level. So keep these comments to yourself, because you make non-racist white people look bad, real bad.
I used to believe that white people couldn't be spiritual until I realized that the vast majority of them were spiritual, until they severed ties with their ancestors in spiritual practices in order to gain access to the concept of whiteness. The creation of whiteness as a racial category required the spiritual and cultural castration of the diverse European people it encompassed. To become white, they had to sever their connection with their specific cultural ancestors, folkways, and spiritual traditions, replacing them with a hollow identity based solely on racial supremacy and aligned with state-approved religion. The rise of centralized nation states and state-sponsored Christianity required the suppression of local pagan and folk spiritual practices. Celtic tradition, Nordic mythology, Slavic folk magic, countless others were systematically demonized, outlawed, and driven underground by church and state authority. It was a spiritual colonization within Europe. When these groups came to America, they were already partially disconnected from their roots. But to be a proper American meant they had to shed the remnants of their old country superstitions and embrace a more standard Anglo-Protestant identity. The mantra was to forget the old world and its ways and reinvent yourself in the new world as an American. This meant abandoning the collective ancestral identity of the past. Whiteness as a concept has no ancestors. It's ahistorical and offers an identity based on what you are instead of who you came from. They had to trade their ancestors for a racial category. The path to whiteness was to accept assimilation, abandoning native languages, adopting Anglo names, leaving their distinct religious practices behind, and actively distancing themselves from Black and Indigenous people to prove that they deserved the wage of whiteness. All to gain access to a bland and homogenized racial category. Yikes. And this is why the concept of white pride is inherently racist. Because you aren't white. You were never white. You abandoned everything you are and everything you came from to be a part of a supremacist group in order to have power over other groups of people. And when you know that there can be no such thing as white pride. You had an identity. You gave it up for false power. Now we all live in a system of capitalism, consumerism that benefits none of us.
Anyways, welcome back, guys, and I hope you guys have seen all of that video clips and so on and so forth. And it is interesting to know, anyways, that a lot of them are now curious and knowing more about their culture, how their skin turned on from 700,000 years ago, blah, 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 east, west, north, and south. I don't even want to stitch so much videos about this because to me, some of the culture they are even talking about are literally what they took from blacks. Yeah, I saw some of the video where they are literally talking about culture and I looked at everything. I was like, this is like Black Americans culture. So why are you not converting it to your own? So there is no point of me even making you go viral. Pew! I take it out. Because there is nothing these people has literally not taken. Honestly, there is nothing these people has literally not colonize, like adopt, should I call it theft, stolen from black folks, honestly. So when I was hearing about their culture, I was like, wow, the only culture I know is that you guys don't take hygiene serious, and that's the only culture I stand on. Like some of you guys, like, let me not generalize it because there are some white folks as well that are actually supporting black and they're taking their hygiene serious, but it is interesting. And I grew up with this illusion of what one of the girls said in this, what one of the black girls actually said in this video, that we grew up thinking that okay, all these black people they don't have cousins as well. Like, do you get like they fall from a certain part, they just reproduce that? I don't know. But if you check in every single thing they are saying, black people are behind every single move. That is one thing. Black people are behind every single move. Black people are behind every single thing. In fact, black people are fully involved. Like when I mean fully, 100% involved, because there is nothing literally that they are going to say that you're not going to see like a black person shaping their lives. Do you get? Despite the fact that a lot of them will not agree to it, a lot will also agree. I saw some even video clips, but I didn't attach it on this my clips, right? Where you see some white folks trying African food, trying black people's food, trying like different type of food, and they were like, "Ooh, they are missing out. They are doing that." I was like, "Yeah, that is what you guys are missing out." Honestly, the earlier you guys realize that you guys are missing out a whole lot, I think the better, because you cannot live all of this enjoyment, and at the end of the day, you think you're doing yourself a favor. You're not doing yourself a favor, my darling. Do you get? So it's just a whole lot, and it's good to actually see them learning all of this. I'm happy for them. I'm excited. I can't even lie. I'm excited that they really want to know more. But in everything that they're going to do, turn it round and round and round. Black people are still the one producing every single thing. They're actually going to still take as culture or as anything, as far as I'm concerned. But anyways, let me know what you think about this video. Credit belongs to the original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Do what? Subscribe, like this video, drop me your comments, and lastly, do not forget to share for every other persons to get this good news. And yes, guys, with that being said, with no further ado, I do like always say in my videos, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.